Hi Gaga, welcome in and hope you're having a nice weekend, though I guess you said you're sick, so can't be too nice of a weekend. But yeah, get well soon. And you're not allowed to watch very long today if you're being sick. What are you being sick with? I've been actually making not much, but a very little progress off stream. And goddamn, you guys will have to look at a lot of Favela screenshots soon. Because goddamn, this build is like it's made for taking screenshots. Look at it, Gaga. We're far from done. We're very far from done. But it's so cool. I pass up all of these like small pedestrian passes. And look at it, Gaga. Do you see this? They actually see quite a lot of usage. I love it because you see people walk around on all of these weird random trails. So slowly getting there. It's gonna be a tedious one, especially in areas like this. I think this side here from the bottom already looks quite nice. So far, I mainly been trying to figure out how I can frame this somewhat nicely to give it borders. And I think here on the left side, we're doing a fine framing. On the bottom, we're doing a fine framing. I have absolutely no clue what we're gonna do on the top and on the right side here, but I hope we will figure it out. And welcome in, Polytruck. Nice to see you, mate. We have been spending the majority of our time lately on building this absolute disaster of a neighborhood here, and I guess today is just gonna keep being the same. The area I would like to continue on is this, where I would like to have this basketball court down here, and then it's gonna be a lot of plopping today, where we're gonna go around here and try to line this up. I'm not entirely sure how well we're doing, but I plan on having a few staircases in here. I want one staircase up here. I want one staircase up here. And I want one staircase up here where we later on gonna have our soccer field. And then I started, this is the best build out one so far, though also needs a lot of optimization. But I started having
Some
one
Latinos up here.
staircase here. And then I'm not exactly sure how we continue this, but I want this to be some kind of walkaway. So it's gonna be a bit difficult to get through here. I mean, to be fair, I actually had to remove some of the expensive cars because it came to my knowledge, and also welcome in Riza and welcome in Maestro. But yeah, it came to my knowledge that there was an electric Ford Mustang SUV, there was a Bugatti, and there was what was a third one that I deleted? Oh, a Tesla. And all three of those did not have LODs, which I was a bit sad about because we have two little custom cars already. But I went ahead and deleted all of those. I kept one car that also has no LODs, but I love that car so much that I don't want to get rid of it. Can I find an example of it somewhere? I generally use it a lot because I like it a lot, but I guess when I'm looking for it, I'm not finding it. But yes, it's a bit sad because some of the earlier added cars and some of them were very nice. No LODs on them, so we had to get rid of it. This one, this is the last of the vehicles that I am sub to. It also does not have LODs. Nothing of this. I'm not sure how he's called again, but this guy he uploaded 4 vehicles and they all look decent, but none of them have LODs. This one I love so much that I did not bring it over my heart to remove it yet. the Bugatti and the other three ones. I did remove, so we have less expensive cars now, which a bit sad, but what can we do? One of the things I would actually, because right at the start there is a few people in here, I would be very curious. Do you guys think we can pull this off, or should I eat this out again? This I'm very unsure about. I initially thought we're gonna work without it, and I think it looks probably better without it. So I'm still inclined to take this out again. But the reason I put it is that we're going quite a bit further here on this side of the street with the favela that I intended to. And I don't hate this to finish off as some kind of a bigger palace. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, I also agree. It does look like a temple a bit. I'm not sure. I think probably if we're just trying to make the cutest build possible, I guess this should be gone. I have not decided yet. I've been moving this back and forth, having a look at if I want this here or not. I'm gonna keep that decision open for a bit longer, I think. Probably I'm gonna throw this out again, but I'm not certain. And no, the smoke is not death mode. The smoke is one of the packs that I always been using. It's those burning dumpsters from J.
That's cute.
It's one of the few J mods that I would always highly recommend everybody to use, even though we have the editor now. But these dumpsters, I think they are beautiful. Well, obviously not actually beautiful, but beautiful for our build here. So we're definitely gonna use those. Also, what in God's earth is going on with our terrain here? And welcome in, Graham. Hope all of you cuties are having a nice weekend. Oh, it is because we have that one so low and this one is dragging it up. I don't think I can fully fix this. I'm gonna try around with this off stream because I think maybe there is a way, but this is gonna be annoying. So I'm gonna save this from you guys. But yeah, and welcome in, cutie, as well. Miss Cheeky, I guess. Yes, and I'm not sure where we gonna continue today. I've had a nap before stream, so I am being a bit warming up still. So we're gonna get to it. And yes, indeed, that is a little firecracker, aka Miss Cheeks sighting. You have seen so absolutely right, Graham. Yeah, here this is gonna be finicky. I don't know. I probably wanna have a second plateau here, but this is mainly gonna be a lot of different plopping. It's pretty much all of this build. It's not the most interesting, but I've gotten pretty used to it by now, and I do think it's somewhat fun. But basically, what the majority of this build is, it just looking at what you can fit where without it looking too silly and getting a nice favela look in here. This one, for example, fits nicely, but I would like one that's a little wider to fit the staircase better. What we're gonna do a lot as well today is just click down stuff randomly in places where we don't yet need it, but we will probably come back to sliding it in place. At least that's what I started doing, and I feel like it is a lot quicker than what I done prior. This is not a horrible fit. Honestly, I quite like this because we are cutting off that window right away. The roofs fit to each other. I think I'm gonna throw this down there for now. always need to make a bit or make sure that we're not reusing the exact same one right close to it. I actually think we don't, but yeah, it's a bit of a tedious process we're doing here. I'm gonna put this here just in case. I don't think I want a tunnel, but this thing, as you guys can see, has this little tunnel here. We've been using this in a few places, and I think it's fairly cute here, for example. I've been spending a lot of effort on making sure that these small delicate passes are actually functional. And here, for example, we have one of our tunnels, we have a few of these, but then you come up here through the tunnel and move up to the side here. Or you can obviously take this way through here and pass through. I guess maybe this is a tad too tight. We're gonna have to move some of these around, but this area in general, I've not properly fixed up. Here, these three are not properly in position yet, but I do care a lot about these passes actually properly being usable later, so we can detail them up. And I think if we detail places like this up, god damn, is this gonna look good in screenshots. In general, I'm gonna have to admit that I just love these assets. I think this build is gonna be very nice, but I don't deserve any credit for it, to be honest. This is just because these assets are stunning, like really, really, really well-made assets. I wish there would be a little more variation in smaller buildings, because I noticed that especially for very small ones, there is not that much availability, but not the end of the world. Generally, you can slide them into each other quite well, but a few more with doors that you can use for small areas would be nice. This one I want to see. I think if we lower this and move this right up onto this balcony, can manage to fill out this spot appropriate. We don't want to cut on the window. Actually, maybe we don't want to cut this on entirely. How does this look from here? I think that works, because then we're getting rid of this a bit annoying empty space here and can open up better and close it up there. And I agree, Riza. One of the things I've been so lazy with assets lately, because I actually really am enjoying the game again, and I didn't play for so long that I'm right now am just enjoying playing the game. But I would love to make a speaker pack eventually, if nobody else does it. Just a turntable and some things, because you say that's a perfect spot for a party. I want this to be a rooftop party. I would like to have like a DJ booth and a few speakers and a lot of people jamming on top here later. We're gonna have to have a look. I didn't really. This side I dived in and detailed a bit, because what I really care about later is that we actually have live going on in these. And we have people running around everywhere, and have here we're missing the people, but obviously I put the seating already for people to watch the plays. So difficult. What do you mean with sewage ditch in between the houses as well, or where would you? Again, I've no clue of actual favelas. I'm trying to make this somewhat realistic, but I'm not sure how well of a job I'm doing. So for good ideas and tips, please throw them at me. This is too flat here. Maybe we can use this to sneak up this area. I would need an example, because just from saying you want a sewage ditch, I'm not sure how I would fit anything in here. You mean actually running down the hillside where people get rid of their sewage? Because I don't think I've ever seen that in any. Yeah, just okay. Yeah, just normal. I'm gonna try around with that. If you have any good image examples, please feel free to throw them in my Discord. I've been getting some very amazing favela inspiration from Miguelito and Riza and El Gendo, but difficult for me. Bagnari also posted some amazing things. But yeah, it's not like I actually have a clue of what I'm doing here. And I'm wondering, the reason why I zoom out and look at this area is I'm wondering if maybe we would like a staircase here as well. And we want to keep this open because we will build one staircase up here. That I guess these are already a bit too far because I would like them to go through a bit. Maybe we should use this area back here as well to bring up another staircase. What do you guys think? Or do you guys think we should just fill this out and having a staircase here and a staircase here is already fine enough? I do think actually you're onto something, Polytruk, because yes, I know that in Asian slum areas that I've looked at, you are absolutely right. You do see a lot of those sewage ditches. I don't think in Brazil that's as common. But we have Brazilian experts in chat right now, so maybe Riza can educate us so we're not guessing as much. But yes, this area I'm a bit unsure about how I want to proceed here. So I think we're just going to proceed with this area over here for now. So I don't get sidetracked too much, which I tend to do. I'm sure you guys are aware. But I think if we work on this area first, is gonna make it a bit easier to figure out what I want to do on the other side. These are all good for higher areas, but I don't. Or actually, this one might not be horrible, but it's a bit too slim. I would like something that fits here entirely. And this one I don't like Risen so much because it looks so high. It's actually my least favorite building out of the entire slum pack, I think. This one, meanwhile, I love. I think this one is very beautiful. And if any of you cuties already looked at the new Sunny and McWelch stuff, I've seen his teasers and everything he posted looks absolutely beautiful and stunning. I have to admit personally that the one I'm the most excited for is the tent. He is not yet released because the stadiums look beautiful, but the stadiums are just always too big for our build. And the tents he posted look absolutely beautiful, especially for this build. Like I do plan using the tents he made for the build we're on right now, so I hope he releases them soon. He said probably tomorrow when I ask him about it, so let's hope tomorrow is that time. Yeah, that's what I imagined. Like I've been actually watching some favela videos on YouTube as well, and I want this to look like a favela, but I don't want this to be shitty, right? I really wanna clarify. I want this to be a nice, livable place. I want this to be a cute favela. Yes, obviously, we're gonna put some trash and roughness in here and give this some atmosphere. But I don't plan on making this like a shitty place that nobody wants to live in. Quite the opposite. I do care about this actually being a cute place to be in later. It absolutely, I guess, internet especially is a thing, though I know that in many countries like that, mobile internet also is a really big thing. If you don't actually have a functioning connection to your house, many people mobile internet is good enough to entirely take over the job as a connection pretty much. And with electricity cables, actually, Riza, you put a good point up because I totally want to bring electricity in here as well. The wiring is pretty much all over ground, right? And very chaotic. Is that correct? This is a bit of a harsh one because it's so wide. We need a wide building to close up this one. This is a very nice one. I want to keep this here for a layer above. Yeah, I will. They're actually about electricity cables. Maybe somebody in chat is more knowledgeable about the editor than me. I asked about this before, but we have these. Hold on. Voltage, I think we'll find those. These. We have these net lanes with a cable. They're really annoying and shitty to work with. Maybe we will have to work with them. But I always been wondering if it shouldn't be possible to actually make an electric prefab out of this net lane that's invisible. Pretty much this, but without the pillar. Should that not be a very quick job in the editor? Maybe I have to try this myself as well. But I would imagine this not having a pole, right? But then if you connect it, you still get a cable. I'm not I'm not sure if this is a thing, but I would imagine you don't even need to do anything, right? Because the cable is in game, and I don't want it to have a match. I literally just want a cable to not be a net lane, but an electricity network. And welcome in, Trashy. I think I'm gonna disappoint our dear Chancellor tomorrow, because I don't think I will go to bed early. And what is he gonna do about it? But nice to see you. I was busy today. I seen you actually stream Blender, and from the screenshot, it looked like you continued your houses. And I'm gonna have to say, I'm often thinking about your houses, and I don't want to rush you because I know you're a busy gentleman and you should take your time. But I can't wait for your housing pack, especially in the neighborhood we're in right now. Like, obviously, not this slum, but this area here. I need more pretty low res family houses. Yeah, okay. I mean, I seen how many of them you touched, so absolutely no hurries. I'm sure it's pretty overwhelming and exhausting to get through that, but just carefully checking in about them. And I mean, with how slow I built in cities, 2026, absolutely no problem. Maybe I finish the favela in 2026, so we are perfectly fine with waiting a little. Here the question is if we want to actually plateau this out a bit and give this a little area. I do think so, because I don't want to directly raise up here. But that sounds like you're still nowhere near to finishing them up sometime soon. Would that be a correct assessment? Because again, I would not expect you to be soon with them anytime soon, because it's so many of them. But just so I know if I can maybe plan with them for the future, or if that is an unrealistic wish, or in the nearer future, I should say. Oh, actually, Trashy, I do have some feedback for your rail signals in case you are willing to revisit them. If not, absolutely not. It is a very small change. It is not something wrong on the model. It's all beautiful. But you know what happens? As they are a building prefab, this one here, which I think it's great to use a building prefab for those, since you don't really need anything anyways. But you have a component in the editor. I have this bookmarked somewhere in my Discord. I can send this to you that makes them undamageable. This thing keeps catching up on fire. And then since this is not close to a street, the firefighters cannot put the fire out. And I had to rebuild this, I think, 3 times by now. Because I don't know why somebody hates your signal this much, but it's constantly and very regularly on fire. And there is a component in the editor that allows you to make stuff non-damageable. I have the same on my garages because I know that they are not always accessible by a street. So I did not want them to be able to burn down. And you should put the same thing on this, just so it can't burn down. Again, absolutely not an issue if you don't want to go back and do that, but I do think it would probably be a pretty quick change. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not unrealistic. If you look at German infrastructure, you do make a good point, Maestro. But I would say, if possible, it wouldn't be a horrible idea to give them that undestroyable component, so that cannot happen as much anymore. And sorry, I actually kind of overread results thingies a bit. I want to go back and check on it. The cables, and what did you say about the Russian? Which one do you mean? In a base game, or is it a PDX? I guess I'm in a net break, so I should wait. But I'm not sure which asset you mean when you say Russian water tower. I don't immediately know which one, which usually I know assets kind of well in this game. And what we need to get some more depth here, we need some with very long roof. Either this. Yeah, sorry, it was bad timing for me to ask that right in the ad. I mean, the Russian water tower you were talking about, is that a custom as, or is that one of the vanilla ones? Because if it's a custom one, I actually don't think. Can you send that in my Discord? I don't think I know which one you mean. I started adding a little graffiti already in this. This is the only part where I started detailing a little. All of the other part back there is fully undetailed. But as you can see, here I added a few graffiti and I hope you like this, Rizal, because My inspiration for this, and it's very different from my inspiration, but you guys know that hippie hill that is very colorfully painted in California that's so super popular. I want a little bit of that. So I took your rocks and tried to build some kind of rocky hillscape in here. And later on, I started a little, but we're gonna go over here and completely plaster this with graffiti. At least from that side. From this side, probably we leave it kind of bare as a divider. But on this side, I will absolutely go and put a lot graffiti on there. And yes, in general, we will go in and put a lot of graffiti in this build, but for that, I need the houses to be where I want them to be, and I have no idea where I want the houses to be yet. When I try this, because I think we might actually plateau this out to this side and give an access to this level up here from this side. Else we're gonna rise so hard, and then we can rise again behind here. But I do think it's actually nice to have a bit of a separator here. And then we can try to bring the staircase along here. This is gonna be very tedious, guys. So be warned, what we're diving into here is gonna be exhausting. But we're gonna try to make this work. But yes, I definitely want this to have access to this side, so we're gonna try to build out the back side here and turn many of these around. This one could even be sideways. Love to have the doors actually accessible. I mean, this is not that pretty, but we can just cover that up with something. I don't really mind that, and we could get both doors accessible like this. I still don't think I know which one you mean. I'm surprised because I feel like I know every single custom asset in this game. So I feel like I should know what you're talking about, but I absolutely don't. But yeah, I'll check it out. I don't love opening Discord during my stream because my frames will immediately drop and you guys will start having a laggy experience. But as soon as I'm done with streaming, I will definitely check it out. So thanks, mate. Okay, and now we need one to fit this out and have a proper access. And then obviously this one is gonna get moved. We don't want that. But then we can bring the staircase up here, or maybe even a pass. Not sure if staircase or pass is correct here, but one or the other. That's too high. That looks roughly correct. This corner, I'm not exactly sure how we'll hide this later on, but we'll just move a building in there to move it out. But it's not a water tower, and is it a small tower? Because I'm so confused. I look at most of the assets. I have to admit there is one of the Russian asset makers who I don't look at his stuff anymore because every single time I checked it out, the quality of the textures was so questionable. That eventually I decided it's not worth having a look at them anymore. So I might have missed something there. Okay, you get me interested in what I'm dealing with. It's gonna be a bit of a tricky one. I guess we actually do need a staircase here. Hold on, let's see if we can feel this terrain out appropriate already. Because what I'm thinking is that we want a second staircase here. Oops, alarm. Something like this, and then we obviously actually want to bring it up to the level of these houses, and we can plateau it out on that area. Something like this. Then obviously the building we have here currently is too high. Something like this. I think this actually, it's a bit too high. The only thing I don't like about this building is how high it pokes out here. So maybe we can find a flatter one to fit into that same spot. But otherwise, I do like this quite a bit because then we get a nice gap here, and from this side we can start rising again. And I guess we should. I need to figure out the staircase more before I start placing buildings. Because I do think one of the staircases I want to keep bringing up here, higher up, and I think I actually want this to be crowned out a little. So before we dive back into buildings, just so we have this in shape a bit more, we're gonna go in here and continue our staircase. Should we angle this here a little already? Probably. This is gonna require a lot of attention to detail and cleanup lately or later, but for now, I don't want to waste too much time on small details and just get a rough shape of the layout in here. But surprisingly, I actually think we can kinda. I ignore this. I have decided this just is not it. I do think we kinda managed to get away with this, even though this absolutely does not fit the vibe of our build. I think even though it's a US build, this kinda works. Obviously, we have to find a nice way to frame it also on this side and then to end it at the top. But I think especially if we look at this is not horrible. I definitely want to move these two buildings a little further to the left and get a bit more spacing in between here. I think this is a bit too much border on border. But yeah, working on it. Yeah, Baganari, nice you're here. But we're making some progress on the favela where you've given a lot. I think I'm not even sure. I think the image, who posted the image of you two with the many sport courts inside of the favelas? I think that was Rizal's, right? Because I really, that one was a big inspiration for me. I started, we have this soccer field now. We'll get this basketball court here, and then later on we'll get this soccer field here. So that was really, really nice inspiration. I don't think I would have done any of this without having seen that picture. But yeah, we're making slow progress. It's difficult progress though, so have to be patient. It's especially getting more difficult now because the layout is getting a bit more final, I guess, in what we're placing worm. So by now we can not throw in stuff as easily anymore, but actually need to make sure that we start closing the edges appropriate. Maybe here we should give this a small kind of plaza again. I'm gonna go in. I mean, we're not really too dependent on the terrain here anyways, but just to try it out, gonna steal this and we're gonna flatten all of this out a bit, not too much, but something like this. And then I think we work around this flat area and close out the side around it. Yeah, we have a few. I'm actually a bit unsure. Those are really difficult because then you have to start lining them up really well. But I started this where obviously it's missing a lot still. But I want this to actually have a bit of a walkway and then probably tunnel through this. This is gonna get really finicky, but yeah, I have a few of these staircases here, and then we're also gonna have the staircase up here later, though most of this is just normal paths. And then here, I'm hoping to get more staircase action. And here, I'm a bit unsure if maybe we should leave an opening here to bring another staircase up the hill here as well. And then one staircase I want to go up here as well. But I also have to admit the areas with the staircases, again, they're by far the most difficult because you have to pay a lot more attention to fitting things in flawlessly than in other areas. So these will probably be the most difficult and tedious areas, which I'm not sure how interesting this is gonna be to watch, but you guys have to suffer with me in Union, I guess, and we're gonna have to figure out how we wanna build this. These slim ones, actually, we want on this side, because on the other side, we will need pretty deep ones to close the area. Or this is gonna, we should try to find something to match this area, because this is gonna be a really difficult one. I would like to find something that actually gets access. So we want something with a door here. This actually would kind of work nice with this, but we don't have a door. So I don't think this is the one. I think we're going to use this one further up where it was. But we gonna have to find a good one for down here. Which again, not gonna be easy at all. We could even take this one and tunnel, but I don't love the tunnel there. Maybe this? Yeah, I mean, it is very intricate, but the downside of this is you guys will have to watch me build these favelas for. I'm gonna put a number behind it and gonna guess like maybe the next month or something. Because yes, with how I started to build these, I will take for goddamn ever with these. This kind of works. We need to terraform a little to hide the sand here, but if we can hide this small thingy, then this gets access here, and it has a door. So let's go ahead. Are all of these elevation locked? They are. Okay, nice. Then we can't break anything. So we're gonna go ahead and steal this. And terraform that through here. And then obviously we need something to close off this gap. But I do think that works pretty well. All of these gaps are a bit annoying, and I don't yet know how we can fix them up the best way. But we will find a way. Worst case, we can just take small parts of other buildings to cover these up and move them in there. So I'm not too worried about these. This one could actually, because it's also fairly, like, how do you say it in English? Fairly not depth, fairly shallow. There we go. Sorry, my brain is melting. But yes, it's also fairly shallow, so I think we can actually move this for, or use this for this side as well. And then in the back here, I'd like to open it up a little, so probably these will angle a bit, so we can turn this into a proper small plaza. But I do think this works pretty well to go through here, and then we come out here in the open plaza spot. Need to actually get the righties. This is what we want, and then bring it across here. But yeah, I have a feeling we are gonna take goddamn ages for this. But I also do think it's kind of worth it because I've been as integrate with all of these here. The funniest thing actually is I want you guys to see something because I told you guys most of these are functional. Look at the amount of markers we have here. I had to pay a lot of attention not to overlap these. So it wasn't only putting all of these functional buildings here, but I also had to make sure that we're putting all of these buildings in a way where our markers are not overlapping with each other. Because I want desk error and everything here to work pretty flawless. So I think I managed because I've been letting my game run quite a bit in the background, and I do think desk error and everything so far seems to work. Now there is one curious thing. If you guys look at this, what population number would you put behind a favela like this? Just from this look. How many people live in here? Because we can very much prop those up any way we want, right? Because we have a lot of functional buildings and they're ready, and then we can just use dark use blocks in other spots to raise or lower the limit of population to roughly where we want it to be. This little, really. I'm gonna say as we are a lot past that already. There will be a lot of matters going on here. You can be sure that there is a lot of things we're gonna detail into
Bye, have
this
a great
later
time.
on. And thanks for tuning in, Gaga. As always, have a wonderful good night and get well soon. But yeah, honestly, curious, because I was thinking my current population number in here is too low. But I have a lot more than 500 people in here. I think we have right now nearly 1,500 people in here, which I think is too little. So your number surprises me, Bagan, are you? I would have said this needs to be like 2,500 eventually. By you say 300 to 500 people, which interesting. I'm gonna say I would have guessed a lot higher than that. But I guess I can relax a bit on trying to cram more people in here, because yeah, I've been trying really hard to get even more people in here, because I deem the number to be a little too low currently. But I guess not. I mean, for me, it's also a nice excuse to finally get some more population in Los Vagos. Because generally, Los Vagos has really low population. And I like building industry and commercial, so I need people in here. And this favela is a great excuse to finally bring some more people in here. And then up here, I don't want to build too much. I want this to start being kinda rural. One of the reasons why I want to bring this up is that Gaga already bought this weird boss house here. And later on, we need proper connections for people to get up so far. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing a lot of cheating. I mean, many of these actually have quite a bit more, like three to, I've seen 8 people in some of these as well. But then this one has an absurd amount. This has 200 people living in it, which definitely questionable, but all of these are unfunctional, so I find it good that I add quite a bit with this. And then here I use functional ones together with these blocks. And these blocks also add a lot of people. This one is actually not that bad, but some of these are pretty crazy. But yeah, we have 3 of these blocks in here as well. I'm surprised how well the traffic and everything is working. Because yes, I do want quite a bit of traffic to go over here, but it's not that crazy. And I showed this earlier already. Of course, now it's not happening. But all of these passes we have here, yes, now somebody is coming. They're all actually passed up, and they get quite a bit of usage. I actually think this is really nice because, as you can see, we actually have a lot of people using our quick connections here, and the same goes for all of our passes in between. Like you do see quite a bit of people walking through them. Even sometimes people walk here, not too often. This definitely is a more popular route, but sometimes you even see people walk through here, which I think adds a lot in detail. Like I'd love if there was actual movement happening in these places. Which I guess we can all agree that it's still not City's strong suit compared to Cities 1 at least, or Cities 2 strong suit. Because you guys had a lot more nice movement and animation in Cities 1 than we do. These are going to be difficult here. On the upper level here, we need some very deep ones to close the border here and not have it entirely open. Here we need some very wide ones. So this side, especially close to the staircases, I wanna tackle first because it's gonna be the most complicated ones. Maybe we can manage to fit this in. I doubt it actually. I kind of like this because we could give access here to the upper floor to this one and maybe even to the door. So to have an entrance in 2 levels. The door is a bit questionable, I guess. Hmm. Yeah, no, I don't like this. What we could do is something like this. Because that actually gets us a fair bit further here, and then here we have normal access. But this part here is going to be really difficult to get good fits in there. We need something that has a door very far on the left side, if possible. I mean, this one doesn't even look bad. I mean, we could also turn them this way, but I'm not loving this. But this has a very long roof, so I'm gonna place this because I think these we can use pretty nice behind here if we lower them down. The placement of this we're gonna have to see in a moment. That mainly depends on whatever way we manage to close these. But these are really nice because they're so deep, so they close all of this open space here to the upper area. And Maestro, could you manage to find a solution with your VE troubles, or is that I was so surprised when you asked that earlier. I was gonna tell you I think that's fixed, but then very clearly it does not seem to be fixed. Because again, I know that that's been a problem for EIA in the past as well. I think this building is perfect. I think if we lower this, we can get the staircase to be right at this door here, and then we can hide the garage door entirely. I think so. Oh my. Oh my. The position is not optimal yet, but that's exactly the kind of building we needed for here. Probably even move it on to the flat surface. Then we show the garage door a little more. I'm not loving that.
Wow, it's very
This is a pretty
nice.
good compromise. Honestly, very nice. Linda, why are you watching this? You're gonna be bored to death. You don't even like City Skylines, and even for people who like City Skylines, what I'm doing today is probably questionably boring. So appreciated you're here, but also poor you. Oh, it actually is from VE itself, because I was wondering, because I thought that PDX gotten rid of that arrow we had in the past, and I guess they did, and it's actually a right everywhere problem. Damn it, see if I lower this to hide this corner, I don't like the top anymore. So I think we're gonna do the opposite, and we're gonna move this further away. I'm so finicky in these areas to touch the right buildings by now. This is not horrible, and then we move it as far back as we can to take away as much
I am
space as
moving
we
in, boy.
can. I'm not forcing you. Don't lie to the internet, Linda. You are welcome to watch or not
I
watch me.
wish we had a cactus.
There is no prison yet, but I can allow you to claim. Yes, claim your prison, but I don't have the prison yet. I can put something as a reminder that the prison already is yours. This is your prison for now. It's not a great one, but I'm gonna put this already. Just so we don't forget, I'm working on a prison in Blender, so eventually you will get a cute prison. But for now, you will have to live with this. I know it's not amazing, but I don't have the prison imported yet. Maybe I will import an early version of the prison so we can put it there already, just to have a better bookmark. It's a great prison, okay? And welcome in Q. Nice to see you, mate. We are doing the same boring thing we did the last time and try to align buildings so they somehow make sense as a favela. How well we're doing, just like the last time, I'm not sure, but we're trying. So maybe eventually this will get us somewhere. And I think maybe this. Come on, let me touch the right one. Maybe this is a good one because it has a door and it has a very small door. Please. Uh, it's actually infuriating to move these by now. There is a door. Can we get this to fit? It's a bit cheaty, but kinda. The bad news for us is we also have to do this on the other side of the staircase, which I'm not looking forward to because this actually is difficult to fit out. But I do think this works on this side of the staircase. How well this works is a different question, but from the bottom, I would say this works. So then we can try to have this side. Next question is, do we split the staircase here or don't we? I'm tempted to say we don't. And I'm more willing to actually bring another staircase up here. So I'm gonna stand with my word and say we don't, and we're closing this area off here. That is perfect right away. Has it entrance here, this side, we can hide completely. Nice. I hope everything is this easy. But I guarantee you it won't be. This I don't like because we have the exact same so close. So I'm gonna take this and move this all the way up here because I don't want the same building to be so close to each other. And this one, maybe we can use only the upper level. Yeah, we're getting in more cheaty territory. I think this will be fine if we terraform here. Okay, we have a little hole there. Aye, welcome in Sundance. Nice to see you, mate. Sundance is a very nice city streamer that I personally have watched the first time not that long ago when I was looking for fun new faces in the cities community. I'm not that active at watching other people stream, and I'm also not that active at streaming myself. But highly recommend everybody to check out Sunden's stream. Very cute build. If I manage to do a shout out, maybe I can make it easier to you. I'm an amateurish streamer, so don't expect too much of me. But yes, since this is the very first time in my lovely build, I can give you a bit of a city tour. What we've been spending a long time on in the recent builds, and before I go into the proper city tour, I should save this real quick. So we don't lose everything we've done. But yes, I'm gonna lean myself out of the window and say probably most of my build is kinda unlike what most of you've seen so far. This is the favela we are trying to build right now. It does not really belong into our build. The rest of our build is pretty much rural US. Hold on. When actually looking at our build, we should put our favorite lightning as well, in which our build looks the best, roughly 6 in the morning. But yes, the rest of our build is pretty much rural US American and a very low population, very spread out for build, a lot of weird graffiti and trashy things. And in general, not only trashy, you can see we also have very luxurious places. Depends how close you are with the major or how much you're willing to dish out in, I don't know. I don't want to call it corruption, but maybe it's like thoughtful gifts to the president of the city will net you a nice house somewhere. So this has been what we've been building before we made all of these cute gardens here. I'm a very slow builder. I think it's quite obvious on why I'm a very slow builder, because I like to put a lot of effort into weird scenes like this. Cute old movie theater. Across the street, we have a shooting range where people can, in typical US fashion, blast their guns around. And welcome in 24. Nice to see you. Long time no see. And yes, of course, you still have your house. I have to admit, though, so many people have houses by now that I don't know where. But if you remind me, I'm sure we can find the house that still is yours. But yes, we have weird things happening in Los Vagos, like this. I don't know what's going on here, but we have some weird aliens coming in and doing weird stuff. I think these aliens, this is our botanic garden over here, and we have a lot of weird scenes, like derailed trains or something like that. But I think the aliens might also have something to do with this. Somebody drawn spaceship here. Linda, stop being such a cow hater. Cows are cute, okay? I don't know what you were talking about, 24. This has surely not been there before the aliens. And yes, this is the majority of the rest of our city, which the rest is pretty much a bit more urban. We have a nice art gallery over here. We have a nice junkyard over here with its own nice vehicle crusher that Jay built for us a long time ago. And then we have our inner city beach right here. Excuse my frames. Excuse my frames. I am suffering a little, or my PC is suffering a little, I should say. And then we have this small and humble government palace. I think it's a big city, so the least I need is a nice area to govern from. And I guess as a last thing that I have to show, or maybe a few more things, but this is the area where the city started, and it's pretty much rednecks in the weird mobile trailer homes, living in trains, rednecks with skate parks in the garden. Really, just typical US things, I guess. I don't know anything about the US as I'm German myself, so all of this is probably a highly biased take on the US. But yeah, my frames have not been doing well lately. Let's say as much. I think our build is starting to be, a little too bad for my computer. It's fine if we don't move the camera. Then we kind of move alright still. But yeah, I probably will have to dive into settings and cut it out a little. And then as a very last spot, I always like to show is this, because for me, this is how Los Vagos came to place. It's a city built around the railroad, and it's a city built around mining. And this has been the very old heart of Los Vagos, the first mine that we had in Los Vagos that nowadays is abandoned and not really in service anymore. So this is a bit of a dying city down here. One could say ghost town. I would say not yet ghost town. There is still some life, but not much left anymore. And the actual still in service mining is happening over here and is a bit more professional now. And then same goes for the quarry that we have over here that still is in service. Uh, maybe actually, but we have multiple mention area. I am so if that was not good, I don't know what was good. I found it as a first house I hovered over after that tip. So I guess so. That was a good tip, I will say. Yes, this is your crib. Maybe you also had different ones, but yeah, you're living right next to El Gando, apparently. But yeah, I just figured because this area has been bought out very heavily. So I figured if you live close to other people, it's probably down here. Because I think the only non-bought property is this one here. All others are taken. But yes, we found your house. And with that, not I really suck at city tours, so forgive me, Sundance. I hope I could give you a somewhat appropriate overview of our build. But I've been building on this for like 1.5 years, I would guess, by now. Maybe even a little more than that. So yeah, roughly 1.5 years, and as you can tell, the build is fairly detailed, so it's difficult. Yes, one can buy as many houses as they want. With houses and street, you cannot buy something that's already owned by somebody else.
I am
So
moving in, boy.
buy as many as you want. Just don't steal anything. With districts, you can actually steal districts. Any district can be bought over and over. So if you want to steal something, just steal it. And when you say the other house, you want the one here that was not taken, or you want something else? I can also realtor for you and offer you different ones. But when you said other house, I assume you meant this. Okay. There you go. I would say is a bit questionable if you already have a house here to put a second one this close to it. I personally would have said just take a different area, explore something in Los Vagos, but maybe you like the neighborhood, maybe you want to stay rooted where you already are. I'm not gonna criticize. There you go, it is yours. I mean, I can relate to that, so am I. Now comes the hard question of how we finish this. We might actually. Nah, the balcony is not high enough. Damn it. Maybe I'm just gonna throw this down somewhere here because I would like to have this towards the basketball court. But we need to find something we can squeeze in here. I guess because we're right at the staircase, either we need to find a building with a door in the very right side, or we cannot really let people in here, which would be perfectly fine. Think we might actually use this to gain a little more space. I mean, I know nothing about what I'm doing in this build makes any sense, and neither does our favela in here. I'm very well aware of this not being accurate at all. Do I care? Mm, I don't think so. I think I only care about one thing, and it's I want to build a cute favela, so I'm building a cute favela. If it fits, I don't really mind. Yes, it actually does. I'm not sure if I posted that in my Discord, but I was watching a very nice video with my girlfriend about a mining town, and it was incredibly impressive. I would say it's a bit more sad than this. I think it was mainly a lot more sad because it was so dirty and trashy and so cold. It was very high up in the mountains. So temperatures there were absolutely horrible and mean. But the vibe of it, otherwise, I will agree, is fairly similar to what I'm trying to do here, at least. Hi, Poplar. Nice to see you, cutie. And well, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this because this happened in a specific server, but maybe Poplar is starting to dive into a new area of the game. Maybe he wants to elaborate himself, so I don't say anything I'm not allowed to. But I've been watching with great interest because the more people that dive into that area of the game, the better for me as a player. So, without spoiling anything more than this, I'm gonna say I've been watching Poplar and I like what I've been watching. Is he still too tight? It's okay. I mean, we get some of these ugly corners, but we can cover those up with prop work. Otherwise, I do think this staircase is working pretty well. And if you ever have questions about asset stuff, Poplar, feel free to also ask in my Discord. I'm not gonna say my Discord is a great place for that, but it actually is true. Well, that would absolutely not surprise me. Has anybody is that out already? I've seen that it's been talked about heavily, and I've seen a lot of Forza things. I I like racing games, but I have not played a racing game in a long, long time. We might have to get rid of that again, depending on how we can fit the rest up there. But if we knock out these staircase areas, I think the rest is gonna get a lot easier. So it is out already. Actually, I did see somebody, and I could not believe it. I think in Chaos Fun's Discord, somebody said they paid $120 so they can play Forza earlier, like an early release of it. What the actual games are worth 120 euros now? That's actually absurd. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm cheap, but I would never even imagine spending that amount of money. Well, I guess I'm cheap and I'm also poor, but for me, spending 120 euros on playing a video game a bit earlier seems absurd. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is that what I mean, Cuboid, where you pay? Okay, okay. So you don't exclusively pay more money for the early access. What else do you got? Welcome in, and I guess also already welcome out, and have a nice night. Okay, I mean, if they give you future DLCs, okay. Though I'm gonna say, as somebody who's seen cities sell future DLCs and then take, I don't know how many years to actually deliver them, but I would not be very tempted in prepaying money for anything in the gaming industry nowadays. This house is not gonna fit there. I can already tell it's too low, but I think we can recycle this. Question is maybe not on this angled roof. I'm gonna move this a bit further up here. I do like this. Oh, actually here we can use it perfectly fine. But yeah, again, this build today is gonna be a lot of moving stuff around and me being unhappy and happy with stuff back and forth. Because this is definitely tedious. Oh, really? You were thinking of returning it, so I guess you're not that happy with it. I think that's even worse. I do think you make a great point there, Cuboid. But yeah, actually, that's very true, because the game seems to be entirely done. So, yeah, it's not even really an early entry. It's just a cash grab or a money making scheme. Which, yeah, I don't know. I would very much not be tempted there. But I guess it's been very common. I never understand why people keep pre-ordering or get so. I said the same when everybody got so excited about the trailers of the city metropolis, and then afterwards, how's the other one called? The Unreal Engine 4 one that people got so excited for as well. I simply cannot get excited for trailers anymore. I've seen so many good trailers of games that turned out absolutely horrible later on that unless I actually see proper playable game content, I will not get excited for anything anymore. Yeah, for me again, I'm probably also cheap and poor in this regard. But for me, I have so many like 5 or 10 year old games that I would still like to play that go for a few euros on Steam sale that I can never really justify spending a lot of money on any game because there still is so many other games that I'd like to play that are really cheap on Steam because they're that old. And I never really care if I play something when it came out or if I wait another year or something. The only game I think where I cared in the past was GTA because it's so difficult not to get spoiled. So maybe I will bite my own words when GTA 6 comes out. Or bite my own tongue, I guess is what you say in English. I don't love it. It uses the space quite well, but it has so many shitty overlaps. I think we're gonna move that out again. I played some of the Horizon a long time ago as well, but I don't know. Racing games, I think I get frustrated playing racing games alone. I think I need to play racing games together with like a friend of mine, so I can, if I get annoyed of how shit I am or me keep failing, then I need to give the controller to somebody else so I can calm down a bit and not get angrier and angrier at the game. It's weird because I have so much patience in cities for things, but then in racing games I don't have enough patience to try the same race like 10 times and not manage. And if it's too easy, I don't find it fun either, so I'm kinda cock blocking myself. It's not what I'm doing here. This is not perfect, but this is gonna be really difficult to close space. I think I can live with not perfect here. I would like to get the roof to look a bit nicer and poke through a tad less. Please stop moving the wrong building. If we turn it a little more, I think we can actually get this to be pretty acceptable. I'm just annoyed by this part of the roof here. If we lower this and now we move this one a very little bit to the front, I think we got it. I quite like that. And I do see that there is an ad break coming. I've not had a break yet since I started streaming. Usually I send you guys into UFO vibes, but cause I'm so proud of our favela and cause I think we get a lot of nice movement in this area as well, I will just set you down like this while I run to the toilet and grab something to drink really quick. I hope something is happening. The next time, gladly UFO ride again. But for now, it's favela time. I'll be right back in 3 minutes. Beer. All right, I still seen that. Have an absolute wonderful good night, Maestro. Thanks for tuning in as always. And sleep tight. And with that, see you soon. Bye bye. Hi, cuties. I'm back. Oh, and actually, before we dive right back into the build, there has been a few assets that came out that look very exciting, but I am probably the most excited about specific one. I showed you these before. All of these are by Combat Sandals. I am always tempted to say Combat Sandals. But he made a new, very cute looking asset. And I want to see how big it is, because I hope it's not that big. It is not that big. I love these assets. Combat Sandals is making really pretty, nice looking NA assets. So far, generally commercial assets, but can't wait. Like, we used to spend a lot of time on building things that is nowhere near as cute with right everywhere in the past. And now we finally get access to some very cute ones like this. And I adore the IHOP. There is a lot of great commercial stuff out there in general. The reason I like the ones by Combat Sandals especially is because they're smaller. Because my problem, especially in a build as small as Los Vagos, is that some of these they are beautiful. I love these as well, but they are so gigantic. Like, even something that's kinda small in most builds, like this whole food market, in my build it's gigantic. And he actually manages to build pretty convincing box stores that are not as enormous in scale. So work a lot better for me and Los Vagos. And he has, I don't know, another 12 or something of these he's been working on. So highly recommend. In fact, if anybody is interested, I'm usually very shit with shout outs. I'm gonna try a bit better today. Or actually, you can't shout out somebody if they're not in your chat, can you? I never know. Yeah, no, I can't shout him out because he's not in my chat, which makes perfect sense. But then, can I? But it does not show it to me. How would I do so? I'm not sure if I managed to type out perfectly. I don't want to shout out somebody wrong, but I will just wait till he's some more here in future and people manage by themselves surely as well. It's Combat Sandals. It's a guy who makes all of these nice assets, and he started sometimes screaming. I would assume probably it's this on Twitch as well. But he sometimes streams on Twitch when he's making assets. I don't think he really plays the game. I think he pretty much exclusively does assets. But I've been watching a few of his streams, and I think he barely has any followers on Twitch, which should definitely be different because I know many people would like asset making in cities because I've been asked to stream asset making in the past. I don't love streaming it, but he totally does. So, I posted. If you're motivated, Q, I posted a link of his Twitch in my Discord a while ago. So if you look in my promo channels, in the stream promo channel, I think one of the last messages is me shouting out combat. So there you could find the link if you care. If you don't care, that's perfectly fine too. And if we manage to close this small gap here, we kinda. Yeah, no, it's not combat sandals. That's what I always joke about as well, and I would love that nickname. But it is not sandals, it's sandless. Actually, now you type that, I realize. But yeah, if we can manage to close this small gap here, we actually have pretty much surrounded the staircase, which is gonna be the most annoying and hardest area to line up here. So if we can get this to look alright, that would be very exciting. The fit itself looks pretty solid. I don't like that we're cutting the tarp. I guess it's called tarp in English. But yeah, I'm not loving that, but I don't think we can avoid it. We could move this one even further in and cut on the second window, but then we get a small gap. I'm gonna have a look at if we prefer this. I think we probably, I do think we prefer this. The gap is so small, it's basically invisible from all angles. Yeah, we definitely do prefer this. And thank you for the proper shout out, Q. Very kind of you. And good that you told me I can shout out people even if they're not in my chat, because I had that a few times in the past where I always assumed that's not possible. So now I know that that is not true and I can totally shout them out. Oh, I'm paying you, that's news to me. But sure. I can share my amazing ad revenue with you. I think get ready for this. I think I made 11 cents or something of ad revenue in my last stream, so I would be absolutely willing to give you a fair share of 10% of that. Maybe you can buy yourself a cute little mansion in the Bahamas. But Q, only if you promise me to not spend it all at once. You need to know your limits and properly make of it what you can. Okay, now check up on what we did here. Please complain if you see. Don't complain about these corners. We can cover these up later. I will cover these up. But complain about any other gaps or weird illogical thingies we see while going up these stairs. But I do think we're up onto it. Beside these few annoying corners that I can totally hide later on, I think this works. This has a proper entrance. This has a proper. It's very hard to get through here. This has a proper entrance. This one even has a. Oh, we managed to sneak in so many doors. I actually love it. This is not. This is not perfect. I don't like the way we cut on the window there. Can we. Holy, this is going to be so difficult to navigate later. Can we move this out just so far that we don't cut on the window? Alright, Rizam, thanks for tuning in as always. And I hope you're happy with what I'm doing to your favela here. Again, it's gonna take us a long time, so you need to be patient. But I hope you can tell that I'm trying my best to build you a cute favela. But yes, have a nice night and thanks for tuning in, mate. These are all fine, and we managed to. I'm actually pretty proud because we managed to bring in so many different entrances. I would have not imagined that we'd get to actually connect as many as we did here. And here I would like to keep this fairly flat. I don't want to go too high here anymore. Just want some small, kind of more rural part of it. This one already probably is too high for what I plan. We can move this down here somewhere. And Q, I'm curious, as you stop doing movie stuff and all of that, but you still watch a lot of CS2 content, do you play CS2 off stream yourself as well, or are you purely a spectator nowadays? Or do you play CS1 instead? Curious. I don't think I could spectate as passionately or with as much passion if I wouldn't be playing myself. Like, I love watching cities, absolutely love watching cities, but then if I wouldn't be playing myself, I'm not sure if I'd love it as much. And if you would fire up any game, would it be CS1 or CS2? We have this door here. We could even make like a small passage this way. I think I'm gonna try if this roughly lines up. If we take this and we bring it, it's too high. But I mean, we could. I think we're gonna make this accessible. Makes it a bit nicer for us to also bring this up here. And then we have another nice cute detail with S's. I like the sound of that. It does seem like, I'm never sure. I think Elgando posted some stream charts that also confirmed that, but it does feel like Cities 2 has gotten a lot more popular lately. Like, whenever I look on Twitch, there is a lot more people playing Cities now than there used to be. Which, I mean, I guess is little surprising that in a game like Cities, people always wanted an asset editor, and now we have an asset editor. Suddenly people like the game more. It's not really that surprising, I guess. But nice to see, regardless. And at least so far, I would also say that Iceflake seems to do a solid job and generally prioritize the right things. Still a bit early to tell, as they not been taken over this long, but not too many complaints from my side. For me, it was actually a bit shocking, though. I mean, I do kinda get why, because I guess there is not that much great things for them of it. But I was a bit surprised how negative most of the Transport Fever community seemed to be about Paradox acquiring the publisher rights for Transport Fever. I would never imagine that people hate that as much as they did. But on Reddit, I've seen many unhappy Transport Fever fans. Why meme? I do think many of them were kinda off, because many of them were really scared about Paradox having a heavy like influence on it. And from my understanding, they're literally just publisher, but don't have much to say otherwise, and is very different than with Cities. But I've seen a lot of negativity on Reddit. I actually think this is roughly the level I want to end here as well. Like I don't want to go up higher the hill. I think we close off this round circle a bit. And then here we can go a little deeper and open it up a bit here as well and spread out. But on this side, I think we're basically close to where we want to land in the end. One of the things that I'm the most worried about is how we smoothly bring this into the hillside later on the end. Because I'm not yet sure how we'll do that, but I hope we can figure out the appropriate way together. Maybe this is even too big, but I don't hate it. No, I think we do leave it that big, and then we build some nice like barbecue party or some nice event happening up here in there. So we basically only really need to close off this side, and then we are kind of done with the bottom level here at least. Oh, this is so close, but yeah, no, actually we need slimmer buildings because we have a lot of elevation in here and I want them to be accessible. Maybe we can use this for the bottom. Have to see if we can get those to not look silly lapping into each other. But this could work. I do think that works, all right. And now we need a single building to fill out this space here. And then I would be pretty happy with this. Or this might actually be... The left side is really nice, because I would like the door to be here in the left to close this up appropriate. I don't think I like the right side, because this is gonna be covered so low. Nah, I don't like this with the garage door here. I don't. It's not horrible. Maybe this actually we can, or actually something we can fix with a bit of terraforming. Because here we can actually, we need to be careful, because here we cannot get lower. Here we need to keep this, but here we can go a bit lower. Oh, hold on, actually, I aligned that up horrible. Yeah, no, never mind, this will not work, because that is the bottom door. Mm. I think I don't like this, especially with how the roofs overlap. We're gonna remove that again and hope we can find a better one. Maybe we can't. We need something with a door frame in the left side and not much else happening in the right. Maybe this, because it has very low level, so we could actually use the bottom garage and then eat the bottom into the ground here. We need to lower as far to hide this. It's too much. I do think this is too much. Actually want to bring this out more straight. But I do think this is still too much, but it's actually difficult to see appropriate here. Yeah, no, This doesn't work. This is going to be really difficult, and it's part of what I was scared about, because I guess this is not the most interesting for you guys to watch. But I do really want to finish this as nicely as we can. I think this is probably an optimal fit, because it has the staircase here, so we can raise it a bit different, and it only has that small window on the. I think this is going to be perfect. Nice. I'm happy that we kept searching. Obviously, I'm gonna have to terraform this a bit better than what it is now, but this works pretty solid. Terraforming looks a lot better too. Here we have that very small gap I would like to fix, but worst case, we can also fix that with vegetation. Come on. I guess I will have to get it out here too far. I don't like that, so we will do that with vegetation instead. Because yeah, I don't like the cut here so much. Yeah, that small gap, no problem, we can hide it. And with that, I'm actually starting to be quite happy, because holy, this does work out very well. And then we go through here, and we get onto this nice plaza, and we even give another access to this side. Oh, I do see a bit of terraforming issue here, but again, something I can fix. And I do think this also looks very decent from this side. Obviously, we need to fix up the top level here a bit, but if we just look at the lower parts of it, I think it's starting to look really nice. Again, I don't deserve that much credit for this build, because these assets are so amazing. You honestly cannot do much wrong building with these. I'm probably going quite overboard with this as well, but I guess that's something I do with every build, so you guys should be used to it. I like it. The one thing I actually really struggle with is with how high I want to bring this up in the canyon, because especially here, if we look from this side, I don't want to raise too much over this level. Maybe have a single smaller one here, but I want to start being a bit less dense up there, and then I guess raise up here, but maybe this the top here, and then roughly this the top here. At least these parts are going to be a lot easier again, because we don't really need to respect as well how people get there and how to line it up. It's a bit too big for here, but I would actually like this one somewhere here. Is this the same one? Damn it, it is the same one. I was gonna say that's a nice one for up here, but I don't want to reuse the same one. This could work pretty well. This pack in general, I also have to really, like, beside them being very pretty, the asset maker also did a lot of things really clever and well in this pack. One of the things he does a lot, for example, is that he does not use different meshes for the level 5 buildings, but he just combines different meshes and mixes them together, like here. And it is very well done from a resource standpoint, because I am surprised that you guys all know my computer is not doing great. Yes, I can feel my frame slightly suffering in this area, but not that much. Which wholeheartedly, with the amount of buildings we're cramming down here in this small area, I would have expected my FPS to suffer quite a bit more than they actually do. When I overread that, why do you think, if you're still here, Q, why do you think some people dislike Paradox so much? Because the only really negative example that I've read or seen been made multiple times is a prison architect one. And I guess in that regard, I mean, you never know from the outside, but I can understand at least why people are frustrated with that. But outside of that, I've never really seen too much horrible things. I guess cities, actually. I keep forgetting about that because I'm so new to cities, and I think since I played cities, cities was always pretty alright. But yeah, I guess people are also angry at the Cities 2 launch. I'm not sure if I like this, that we're entirely reaching the hilltop here. I guess I actually do, not in other spots. You make a very good point. I actually often compare to other games, but yes, when I compare, I think I usually compare to devs and not publishers. I have to admit, I'm not deep enough in the PDX universe. I don't know of Bloodlines Masquerade or Battletech. What? Give me the popcorn. I like drama and I like popcorn. What happened with these? Because I don't think I ever seen this brought up in any of the anti PDX thingies. The prison architect one I've seen brought up a lot, and I can relate to that because I actually really used to like prison architect. I think prison architect is very fun. So I also was a bit salty. But the others don't tell me anything. But yeah, Ciantic actually makes a really good point that publishers are not generally like, because I'm trying to think of a publisher that is really popular, and I can only come up with publishers that are basically in-house, where they're publisher and developer both at the same time. Otherwise, I don't really know of any publisher that people really like. Oh, really? Okay, I have never heard of that. That's interesting, actually. I mean, without defending PDX here, but I have seen them, I think, in their own brand statement say something that I cannot fully disagree with. And they said something along the lines of we wanna try to develop many games and we're gonna like put funding into many games, but we will also not be scared of not publishing the game if we're not happy with the result. And I don't think that's a horrible approach. Yes, it very much sucks in the scenario you're making if they're like kinda sitting on the published rights and don't allow there to be a sequel. But otherwise, I think it's understandable that if they don't really like a game, they supported its development, that they also don't want to release it. I really hope, but that's probably delusional and will never ever happen. But as somebody who likes drama and who's not been very involved in the earlier times of cities, I would love to get a documentary in the future about what went down between PDX and Colossal Order. Like legit trash to reality TV format where you see people from both sides telling their side of the story and venting out. What kind of game was Battletech? I've heard that name before, but doesn't really ring a bell. If you guys look at that top line here, this looks fine, no? I would actually think we're high enough here. Maybe this is a bit too steep of a rise. Maybe we want to fill in one there. Yeah, no, I can only again, I'm absolutely on the outside with all of this. I didn't even play Cities when all of that happened. But I know that even Colossal Order themselves came out and have stated that PDX has not rushed them, right? And I think they missed the initial launch by over 2 years. I'm all in for delaying releases if you're not ready yet, but I also think it's not unreasonable of any publisher that after your 2 years past your deadline to not be happy with that anymore. Like, I don't know, if I would do anything for any client and I miss a deadline by 2 years, then yeah, that would not bode very well for me. Again, a lot of what I'm saying here is speculation, and I really wanna like make sure you guys don't count anything of what I'm saying as truth, because I don't know. But I believe they went out and said they've not been rushed. And I mean, 2 years after delay also is a big enough sign of them not really having been rushed. And at that point, I do find it pretty understandable if any publisher would light a bit of a fire under their butt and be like, hey guys, we're already 2 years past. Maybe sooner or later you guys need to actually get something releasable out there. Yeah, I'm also more intended to side with Q on this. Because I would also say, yes, the game was released in a state that from all I know, again, I didn't play back then, but was not release ready. But then again, can you blame any publisher that allows you to go 2 years over your deadline to eventually be like, hey guys, you need to put out the game? Obviously, a publisher eventually needs to make money off a game, and they cannot be patient forever. I would love to hear more of your popcorn, but I guess you are not willing and reasonably not willing to share. But in case you are, my DMs are open, Q. I mean, I do think Colossal Order like put out a very good base for a game. Like I do think from all we can tell is that there has been quite a bit of solid potential in everything they've done. My feeling as a player always been that they are a bit ignorant towards us already playing the game when Colossal Order, and I wish them the best. I think they did amazing things with the game, and they gave Ice Flakes an incredibly solid foundation. But there were so many small bugs that don't need the world of time to fix, that just have been ignored while working on bigger parts of the game. And I do get that they need to work on these other things, but I also appreciate that at least Ice Flake seems to be a lot more on hand in regard of, oh, this is a problem currently, so we need to fix this, and then they can work on other things in the back. But again, just my impression, maybe this is not very accurate. I appreciate a quick amount of bug fixes and small adjustments on many things that I would say is low hanging fruit, but even low hanging fruit needs to be done eventually. And with Co, it seemed like they were very focused on the bigger grand scheme of things, while not really realizing that there's a lot of people already playing the game and facing those issues while playing the game. Look who it is! Welcome in, Shane. Does this mean your computer arrived, or are you visiting us from mobile country land? Because if your computer arrived, congrats and welcome back to the community and being a map maker. We missed you. Now I should give this another save. Guys, if I don't save for this long, please remember, actually that last save was not that long ago, but we don't use autosave. I would cry if we lose all of this lining up here. Well, I mean, it can only be a question of days now, from everything I understood about your computer. I think soon we have you back at least. But yeah, it's been a long wait. Here we're gonna have to try around a bit. I'm not sure if this might actually be too high already. I'm gonna try how this looks from the bottom. If we put out a few more bigger buildings here and build this up to another small, like open squarey area, I do feel like maybe it's a tad too much and we wanna use more small scattered buildings up here. It's not even that high. I do think we can work around with buildings appropriate there. And this I see very interested, because you guys remember how I earlier showed you guys that I spend a lot of time making sure that the markers not overlap. So Desker and everything can work. Does anything overlap here? They don't. I mean, these are close to each other, but that should not be an issue. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on this because I want this to properly be functional and not get any annoying warnings. So if we have desk error issues here, I will have to fix this area up at least. What is HLL or HLL is the first question. We need answers. That seems like a very fun gaming squad, so that that is a good selling point, but I don't know what kind of game. I mean, that sounds like a game I would instantly play. So, sure, Q, if you're correct, which surely you wouldn't lie to me, then count me up. That game was so hyped when it came out new. I don't think it is my type of game. But yeah, that game seems very popular. Sorry, I keep zooming out so much here, but I do really care about this looking good from the distance. So I want to make sure I get these top shapes right. And I do think this one, for example, actually is a tad too high. Because it raises so harsh here suddenly. And I don't want it to raise as harsh. I want it to kinda gradually go up here. So I'm not a fan of that building. All right, mate. Then enjoy work and thanks for tuning in. And obviously, good luck on bringing Q to play Hell Let Loose with you guys. But yes, have a nice day. I'm inclined to say evening, but if you say you have to go work, then probably day. And Q, what do I have to do? So you spill all of your secrets. You know so much about this game and its community. You would be such an amazing source of popcorn. What does one have to do to unlock that source of popcorn? Asking for a friend, of course. Sir, I'm bribing you with 10% of my millions of ad revenue. I still owe you 1.1 cents, so consider yourself bribed. I'm not I'm not using a cuboid mod anymore. Cuboid used to be an amazing modder in the Cities 2 community, but he stopped participating and only continues updating CS1 mods. So oh, okay, fair. Actually, I could have imagined that myself, but you do make a fair point. So maybe that's a good way of tricking you back into modding, because I recall that you said unlikely, but maybe you would dive back into it in future. And I'm not saying I'm hopeful since, but I might be. do you still check in with Yen regularly to see on or to check in on progress and what is happening to your baby move it? I wish Sully would have already released his tens. I'm not sure if anybody's seen it, but Sully has been teasing some of the stuff he wants to put out. And one of the things he'd been teasing was a collection of different tents. And holy, I want these tents. They will be so helpful for our favela build here. So I cannot wait, he said, probably tomorrow, but I wish it would be already. Because especially for some of these areas, I think the tents will do a very nice job of filling out area without us just using the favela assets everywhere. Damn it. We have a small hole there, but then is that actually really visible? Not really. I think we can get away with this. And yeah, I can definitely feel that by now this area is slightly impacting my FPS, so we are gonna pay a price in performance for this cute build later on. And I can already tell that this is broken. Like, I'm gonna have to fix up the markers here. We can have a little look at it real quick. But I didn't see any of them overlapping initially. Look, to be this house, all three of them are accessible fine. I don't understand. Yeah, no, there is no one overlapping there. I don't understand why this is complaining. We're gonna move it slightly, because sometimes it triggers the horses to try again. But wholeheartedly surprised, because there is not a single overlapping marker. This mod, by the way, if anybody is wondering how I do this, it's a mod by Elgando that is very simple and basically only gives you a keyboard, a key bind or a cuboid, haha, for something, and it's the show markers, which usually not that helpful. You can toggle it yourself. It is incredibly helpful when you're using Move It, because while using Move It, you can never see those markers. And with this, you press F8, or in my case, F8 at least, and I get all of these markers, no matter which menu you're in, which makes Move It very nice to use. Probably not something many people will need or make use of, but for me, it's definitely very handy. Especially in this favela build. I don't think I've used it nearly as much in the past, but for this favela build, it's so helpful. Want to clean up this area a bit, because I do think I will not yet, but soon have to stop streaming. I would like this side to look a bit more appropriate than it does right now. Sadly, I don't think I can fit this well where I thought we could. Could set it on top here. I would like this balcony to somewhat still look in the direction of the basketball court, which I guess kinda. Not like they could really see. They could actually kinda see. Not the entire court, but most of it. If we fully frame this, I think this is starting to look really cute. Obviously, no decal work, no detailing, no anything. But if we cut this screenshot in a way where it looks like it's mostly finished, I think this is starting to look really cute. Which again, mainly down to this amazing assets, not the build we're doing with it. But holy, I think it's starting to look lovely. And I'm honestly, the one thing I'm fairly proud of is that I don't think you see that much repetition. Maybe I do see one right now. I should have not said this because I think one is very obvious. But it's not that many assets. Like we have one. Mm, I didn't fully count, but like I don't know, 20 assets roughly for this. Even less than 20. And I think for that, this looks like it has no repetition. But in reality, this is pretty much just the 20 same assets thrown all over. Holy, from close up, it actually never looked like we did that much progress today. But if we zoom out, I took a screenshot from this yesterday. This looks so much better. We actually really made a lot of progress in this side. Here we only have one staircase, so that side is going to be a lot quicker, and then this area is going to be very finicky as well. But slowly, we're getting to a point where we can start detailing in more areas, because I know you guys probably are already bored of this build, but you guys can be sure that we're not done with any of this. As soon as we place all of the buildings, then it's when the actual building part begins and we're gonna start detailing everything. Hey, you're probably just having breakfast. I can imagine, Shane. As always, nice to have you here, but obviously, like you moving your entire life upside down and missing your computer and everything. No worries, like just tune in when you feel like it or it fits. Are you keeping up with like cities, assets, and maps and such, even though you're without your computer? Because I'm very in tune with assets. I'm never very in tune with maps. Not because I don't find maps beautiful and absolutely admire them, but just because I know that I will play Los Vagos for the next 2 years of my life. So I'm not really in need of a new map. Sometimes that is the one thing that makes me a bit sad about how slow I'm playing this game, because there is so many nice other maps that I would like to give a shot as well. But since I'm as slow as I am, I don't ever really get to. How is the map situation looking? Because the asset situation I think is really getting better and better. More and more good people either coming back from Cities 1 or getting into making assets for CS2 now. So the asset front has been pretty solid. Map front, I'm not sure. I was wondering about that many times in the past, Yantik. The reason I'm not too tempted by that is because I already, at least at times, stream very irregularly. Like this week has been a bit better, but before this week, I didn't manage to stream for 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks or something. And if I would split build, my progress would be so incredibly slow. And I don't think I can manage to fully pour my heart into two builds the same I can when I only have one build where I think about what I want to build where and what I want to do. So yes, I'm kind of itching for a new build sometimes, and I think about starting a second build, but then I don't think I should. Not entirely sure. Anyways, I set you guys in the UFO, not on accident, because there is an ad break pretty much starting now. I'm gonna run to the toilet and grab something to drink real quick. Well, I hope you guys enjoy your UFO ride. I will be back with you cuties in like 2 or 3 minutes, so BRB. Hey, I'm back. And Siantik, now you got me thinking, would you as the viewer find it more interesting if I had two builds with the big downside that both builds would progress very, very slowly? Not that I'm not already progressing very, very slowly, but then if I have two builds, then obviously it would be half as fast, maybe even less so. Maybe that's still worth it for people to get a bit more variation to not only see me play and detail Los Vagos 24/7. I mean, I have built non-deserts. Like, this is my need to think. This is my fourth build in Cities Skylines. When I started the game, my first build was fairly shit because I just wanted to use everything, try every building. So it was a really big city, not horrible, but definitely not great. And then I built a nice rural build. And then funnily, I built on the same map again. So while I had four builds, I've only played two different maps so far. Because Sully made a competition for a build where he wanted to, or where the competition was literally on the same map that I already had my, at that time, current build going. So I built on that map twice, and none of that was desert. So I used to not be a desert player. But yeah, I guess since like 1.5 years now, I've been pretty much exclusively playing Los Vagos and desert. So fair enough that people by now think I'm a desert only player. The bad news for you, Ciantic, is that I would actually be tempted to do another desert build after this, which I guess that I should not do. The reason for it is that I don't know, I just really love desert aesthetics, and I do think as much as I love this map and I love this build, I do think my biggest issue with Los Vagos by now is the map, because I would like to have more water, and I miss water, which I guess desert and water doesn't really make sense, but then nothing in my build makes sense. I would do it anyways. But yeah, I guess you would probably, or people would probably prefer to see me build a grass build for once. Which I also would like. Don't get me wrong, I sometimes itch for not being in the desert anymore and build in the green. I just think for me it's difficult to fully be invested into two builds. I do think that's my main issue with thinking about two builds. Because even if you think about people that re-roll build fairly often, I think it's rare that people fully return to a build that they've been on in the past. And I think generally people with multiple builds, they have like one main build and then others that they started and kinda abandoned. And I don't want to abandon builds. I actually like sticking with builds very long. I'll keep it in mind. Something I could imagine, for example, is if somebody does a cool competition in future, right? Where I know we're gonna do a limited time build for a month or two or something. Then I would perfectly be fine with diving into a grass build and kinda abandoning Los Vagos for a little. But permanently, I can't really imagine it, because then the moment I start a second build, I think I will not be as interested in playing Los Vagos anymore. Yeah, no, it's one of my big complaints, or has been one of my big complaints with textures in this game. Because yes, in this game you get four different textures. You get one for grass, you get one for dirt, you get one for a cliff, and you get I don't even remember because it's so long that I looked into it, but you get one rougher grass, I think, something like that. So you only have four terrain textures currently, and I think as well that is highly limiting. Because I would love that if I would be able to just have a different, like have this, for example, because we have the river here, be a lot more green and grassy. Totally. I would like that. I would like to start a second kind of build. The only thing for me that matters is that it's all inside one safe, I think. And yeah, I guess currently at least we're not able to do that. Which even in a map like this, I know that for me, the most interesting and inspiring area has always been like Arizona, Utah in regard of landscape. And you cannot really replicate that too well in cities because in many of those areas you have very versatile and colorful ground where you have black and orange and red and yellow and some green, and yeah, we have four textures. You just can't really do that too well. I have one texture pack that I made for a map that I started to work on for myself, where I kinda try to do that, and it works somewhat, but not amazingly. But yeah, very much agree. Like I'm sure, yeah, Shane. I was waiting for it. It's three only. Yeah, that makes sense why I couldn't even think of the fourth one then. That's just even harsher. But yeah, you're right. It's only grass, cliff, and sand or dirt, right? Which yeah is just not enough. Yeah, for me the grass one is the biggest issue, where I feel like you just need more than one texture there. But I also understand that that's very tricky because obviously they cannot really automatically assign any of that properly. So the only way I could see something like that working properly would be something like that terrain painter mod that one guy tried to make a thing, but I think he advertised it a lot and then pretty much abandoned it, and it never really worked well from all I know. But you guys had that in CS1, no? Did you guys not have a terrain paint in CS1? Because that would, at least to some degree, solve that issue. Oh, there is so many houses so close here that it gets really difficult seeing when you double up in something. But yeah, we don't have this anywhere close. I mean, let's see, but I'm gonna have to say one thing. I am very positive about the game's future. I think I've been so since I started, because I always thought, even with Colossal Order, that once I started playing the game, I missed all of the horrible launch and such. The game was not in a bad shape most of the time. Obviously, we have many glaring issues, so it's not like it's perfect or anything. But especially since Ice Flakes took over, I'm like again feel very hopeful about the future of the game. I hope I'm not wrong. I very well might be, but I'm inclined to think if we keep staying patient, then our game is gonna keep being better. I mean, I'm gonna say as much as I'm well aware, Shane. Let's say I've read something and I immediately knew you'd be very excited. Here, actually, I need to pay attention. I don't want to go too far because I'm not yet convinced, but I do still think that maybe I want to bring a staircase up here. I think the probably correct approach is something like this, and moving this house up closer, and then have another, maybe a smaller one, maybe not a concrete stair like we have here, but maybe, one of those wooden ones that we started already. So I don't want to go too far here, because I would actually like to be able to bring some passes through there. So I think we're gonna try to close off this area here first. Where the most difficult is probably how we transition this on the back here. But you guys see now what I meant with we don't really have that many assets. Like, I'm mainly recycling the same ones over and over. And then what helps heavily is that with many of them, I just lower them into the ground so they look different than they otherwise would. But yeah, realistically, we're not using very many assets for this build. This one I was thinking I would like here, but we already have that one right here, and I think it's very unique and obvious with that one to double it up. So I'm inclined to say we're gonna take this and move it very far to over here. Welcome in, Friedrich. Nice to see you, and thanks so much. Big honor. You watched me 10 times. I point this out every single time somebody has a stream streak, but I do think it's a lot more difficult in my channel to get those because I don't have a schedule and I stream to very random word times sometimes. So honestly, I very much appreciate that. We are trying or struggling, I should say, to build a favela here. Yeah, it's the reason why I've gotten a Discord at first. I think my Discord turned out surprisingly nice and wholesome by now. Originally, I never wanted to have a Discord, but I knew, I guess, without a schedule, I need a Discord, else how are people ever gonna watch me? What I do realize by now is that I probably will have to put some more work in my Discord and start something like roles, because I feel bad about always at everyone naming people for my stream, because I'm sure there is people in my Discord by now that appreciate my Discord but don't want to watch my boring streams. So I should work on a solution for those people not to get annoyed by my everyone pings all the time and put some different roles so people like you can get pinged, but not everybody has to get pinged. But I'm not a very big Discord person, so I'd have to look into how I can do that appropriately. Yeah, I know, and it's one of the reasons why I didn't consider it so important. But then I think many people are lazy and mute the entire Discord instead of muting like specific roles or mentions or something. So I think it leads to more people muting your entire Discord. So for that reason, I probably should put like a bit more effort in making the roles nicer so people don't feel the need to mute my Discord but still don't get spammed with the pings when I start streaming. I'm very short before removing all of these. I don't like this. This is not. I don't like any of this. I think we're gonna maybe this one we can keep if we lower it. I think that's already better. I think that was too high before, but I don't like this. This we have too close here already, so I don't like we're doubling it that extreme. So we're gonna do the same as we did before and move it away. And here I also don't like at all how we're closing the space, so we're gonna have to do a better job here. Not sure if this is the right asset, but this asset has a very nice shape for what we're doing here. I do think this is the world's better. This is worlds better than what we had just before. Looks so much nicer from down here. I'm glad I threw that away. We have this a bit annoying gap here, but we can find something small to fill that up. Yeah, really, my one complaint on this pack is no screenshots. This would be a lot quicker and easier for me if I would have screenshots and I could recognize what building is what and not always search and go through every single one over and over again. But the pack is so nice and beautiful, I'm not gonna voice much criticism. Oh, it's starting to look so nice. You guys will have to suffer through so many screenshots of this build. And also through many streams of this build. Because, yeah, we already took forever for this, and I'm gonna take forever to finish this. These assets are 10 out of 10. I cannot say any different. Really, really nice. Absolutely underappreciated for how amazing they are. As you can see, I'm like far away from where we want to get, right? Because all of this is completely horrible so far. This side is the only side where we kinda started detailing a little, but also not down here. But here we kinda went in and detailed a bit. But yes, I'm really looking forward to fully building this out because these assets, I think it's difficult to do any wrong with them, especially since we have ABC. You have heard me fawn about ABC before, because obviously I could not do this entirely functional. But I want to keep pointing out that the majority of this build is perfectly functional and normal buildings. If we go into the info view here, you can see that everything that's at least close to a road pretty much is functional. And then obviously the further back areas aren't, though we're tricking a bit. Like we're using the modular blocks in some area to bring housing in the second layer pretty much. I think we're also going to try to do that a bit more, but obviously we cannot go super deep, right? We could get some housing back here in servers through this pass, so we could put a modular block back there. But obviously none of what we have up here is ever going to be functional. So StarQ's mod, an absolute enabler for these assets. Yeah, I really like. I've been as soon as these came out, I was very excited because I thought they looked beautiful. But when the pack came out, it had issues, like it threw some errors and made problems. I think that's one of the reasons why it's so under subbed or underappreciated compared to what it would deserve. because people tried it out and it had issues and then they just let it be. But no more issues since quite a while now, and everything got fixed up. Amazing pack. And I guess part of why it's not as popular as it should be is that not everybody is able to just plug in a word favela in their build and get away with it. But then we're Los Vagos, so we can kinda get away with whatever, including just throwing a favela in our NA build and deciding that's okay. Damn it. Nearly, but I don't like that we have to cut on that window. Maybe what I did in some areas, maybe that's what we should do here, is just close off the hole with a part of a roof. But then I would like to have a filler here. I'm gonna see if I can find something that is flat enough where it works. And then we're gonna use this over here instead. Really, my only complaint is that there is basically no level ones in this, or I shouldn't say level ones because there is a lot of level ones, but there is no small ones as small as this because I think these are really nice to overlap. Basically, they're all half underground, right? As you can see, all of these smaller ones, they are actually double deckers, but then since I wanted some smaller ones, you can see that many of them are like half underground and hidden away, like all of these low shacks pretty much. That would be my literal only complaint, that I wish there would be some more very small shacks, but again, that's probably a me problem because I want this to look the way it looks. I'm not sure if I can manage to find something here that works, because that window is so. I mean, we could also move this one up a very little, but not much, because we don't want to get into that room. So the highest we can go with this is this. And it's going to be tricky to find something where the windows fit in between there. Maybe even, nah. Where this could even fit, but we had one close of this, no? Where's the one we had close? Here. Let's see if we can get away with this. Maybe if we make sure we have a different variation. Because you can't really recolor them. For me, at least, the recoloring was kind of buggy. But they have a few different variations that don't, as you can see, they don't recolor everything, but they recolor parts of the buildings at least, so allows you to get in some variation. And I don't like this cut on, but we can actually fully hide it, and that window still works fine. I think this is nice. I think this adds a nice bit of layering from this side. So, getting there. But with a look on the clock, I do think I'm gonna jump onto Twitch and see if somebody is streaming and where I can rate you guys out to. Because I will have to head to bed. I promised my parents I'll visit them tomorrow, not too late. So I will need to get my cute booty into bed. We will continue with this build. I think if I manage at least, I will most likely be streaming again in Monday. And unless I see something different that we want to dive into till, I'm fairly sure we're going to continue building favelas for quite a while. Again, very unfinished build in most angles, but if we find a good angle, something like this, kinda starts to look like a finished build. It's gonna take us a long time to actually turn this into a finished build, but in some angles we can pretend it is. And with that, I'm gonna open up Twitch real quick and hope somebody is streaming Cities. But honestly, Cities seems to be more popular to stream lately. Usually there's been quite a few people. Dar is streaming, but Dar we raid quite regularly. Who is streaming is Kurti, and Kurti I don't often get to see play Cities. So I will send you guys out to Kurti, who is an amazing, generally Planet Coaster streamer, but I think used to play Cities in the past and is now getting back into Cities. So I am sure you guys will enjoy your time over at Curtis. And with that, I wish all of you an absolutely wonderful evening. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in and spending your time with me. And have a nice night and a nice
Bye.
rest of
Have a
your
great time.
weekend. And again, I will most likely be back in Monday, I believe. Have a nice night, cuties. Bye bye.